players, the personalities who come from around the world to play professional soccer in the United States.
Go, USA! Oh, it's incredible!
In a world where some call it football, football, or soccer, they dare to call it foosball. One thinks New York is blue, the other thinks New York is red. Soccer in America from a German perspective. Let them put some sauerkraut on your hot dog and join them for the Schnitzel Boys USA Hour.
USA, USA, USA. We're back, baby.
Oh, you're feeling patriotic tonight. We are back.
Well, I know you wanted to talk MLS all off season, which we have a little bit, but not as in depth as usual. A lot of stuff has happened. There's a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. MLS is back. It's kicking off this weekend. And just now, during our broadcast, I have it open in another window. Colorado Rapids are hosting LAFC in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. And it's the first competitive game of the year, of the calendar year.
Oh,
for American clubs.
What's that on?
Fox and VIX.
VIX.
VIX, baby.
You know what
Fox
Vixen?
and Unimas.
You know what Vixen is in German?
Isn't it like a... It's like a lady of the night or whatever. No, is it?
No. It refers to pleasuring yourself.
I did not know that. See, a good thing I learned. I did skip German class to the broadcast tonight. I should have brought that up in the last hour. And my assignment was to watch The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
Oh, very good movie.
I've never seen it before. Yeah, and I've seen
it's good.
I need to watch the last 2/6. It's very much Tim Burton. It's like he saw that movie. He was like, I want to do that for my career. And that's what he did.
Yeah.
Great. It was a great movie. 4/6. I had to look up what a somnambulant is. I still don't even know what it is.
A somnambulant? Is a sleepwalker? No.
Yeah, I had to go. That's what that means. And in the movie, in the Untertitel, the subtitles. So I watched it in German. It's a silent movie, but the German card's in the middle.
Right.
Pretty much it's like, I have a somnambulant. And then that's what's said in the subtitles. I'm like, what the heck is a sub? I had to Google that. I figure in a modern day, that was probably maybe a more common word back then. Like, now you should put like parentheses sleepwalker next to that. I would say.
Okay. But sure.
That's not what we're here for. That's not what we're here for. I'm here for the Cabinet Dr. Caligari. All I'm saying is I'm glad I learned things from you, Bjorn. Vixen. Was hast du gemacht on Freitag?
Oh, don't.
I'm trying to use it properly.
No, you're doing a great job. I'm just like... Oh.
That's what any given some stuff means. Anyway.
All right.
MLS is back again. Yay.
Yay. Yes. It's well time. Okay, no, go ahead.
We have a history of like predicting and listing, but I never look those up and I never follow up on those. I would love to.
I mean, is it really? It's hard to call. MLS is it's hard to call. We overperformed. NYCFC finished 6th last season, and we were better than any of the pundits. You know, all the pundits make their lists, and we exceeded expectations of all the pundits on the MLS roster. And but that didn't stop them from picking us the same way again this year. We're like there. It's all some between 8th and 11th in the East is where we are predicted to finish. And I don't know. I mean, do you want it? Last year, what we did last year, we alternated picking teams in order in the East and the West. But I think we were pretty wrong. I mean, we're like everybody. We're wrong about some things, but we were not terrible.
I think we were more accurate, though. What I will say is the experts every year keep predicting the New York Red Bulls to miss the playoffs. And it's like, stop doing this. We always make the playoffs. I don't even know. To me, that kind of challenges their expertise a little bit because it's like, You guys can get specific as you want, but Lord knows that the salary numbers and the budgets in MLS don't matter all that much. They matter some, but not a lot. The highest budgeted teams are not the winning teams. The lowest budgeted teams are not the failing teams.
Because
So
Toronto FC has yet again, despite their best efforts, not been able to unload Lorenzo Insigne's unbelievably crazy contract. So they're stuck with him for at least another couple months, perhaps the whole season. And they're certainly not getting what they're paying for with him.
Bjorn, people online, this might be recency bias, this might be exaggerated, are calling Lorenzo Insigne the worst contract or signed player in MLS history.
All right. Well, Shaqiri would like a word, but
Shaqiri was half price. And when he was done, he left. He went off to Switzerland.
I mean, the thing, I guess, in proportion to the hype, it's probably true. Like, it's hard to argue. It's hard to argue with that.
Pretty much, Sebastian Giovinco came to Toronto, and he was so great. One of my favorite MLS players of all time. I mean, he was amazing. He tortured
my poor team, so I can't really.
In the era of high-paid foreigners coming here and being disappointed, he was like the first one who really showed up the way you wanted a player like that to show up. He was like a PlayStation player. He freaking terrorized defenses in Mexico, in MLS. He was just such a great player. Contract stuff means he went off to China, I think, or something. And I think Lorenzo Insigne was Bill Manning's, the Toronto FC's general manager, I think, at the time. He's still with them? I think they got rid of him, right? Finally. Anyway,
I mean, if they haven't, they should.
Yeah. Anyway, I think he was there. I think his idea was like, we need to get another Sebastian Giovinco. So let's spend top dollar on Lorenzo Insigne, which, in my opinion, on paper at the time, was sound. Him getting paid $15 million a year was not sound. That was quite surprising. But that's the money you have to spend to bring him here. Like, that's the market value for a guy like that, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
However,
it has not panned out.
It's done nothing. I mean, how old is that? That's pretty messy.
It's a few years away. I mean, the team around him it's been odd. Like, it's been an odd it has not worked for many reasons. It's not all Insigne's fault. He's missed a lot of time. He had injuries. Bernardeschi keeps trying to convince everybody that he's better. It's things are weird in Toronto.
Toxic, I believe, was a word maybe that gets thrown around a lot.
Yeah,
that might describe that situation. But anywho, MLS is back. So how do we do this? We've had, as far as MLS structural news goes.
Yeah.
The big news we talked about last week, 2 weeks ago, was the cash transfer edition.
Uh-huh.
I don't know the ins and outs of it.
Well, it's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. You can now buy, we've been joking for years.
Bjorn.
Nothing is ever simple, of course.
Nothing in the MLS structure is pretty. We're about to talk MLS rules. Let's get our lawyer. Let's get a legal books out. Let's get our calculators out.
This is
it's not simple. It's like because we talked about last week about how the only scary part of Bochum's team is their law department. So maybe the problem is that Bochum should be playing in MLS. Yeah, they could figure out the paperwork.
They'd be like, gam tam, no problem. Give us a hard one.
Yeah, come on. Kidding me? Rules and regulations. But what I will say is MLS has been spending. I think they've been outspending the Bundesliga in the transfer market.
Yeah, we were talking about that. We talked about that last week. I mean, as I said then, it's apples and oranges because this is our big window, and this is in Germany. There's not a lot of transfer activity in the Bundesliga in the winter window usually. So, however, but still, not to downplay. There's a lot of big ticket. There's big ticket people coming. Atlanta had money to spend, and they spent it. They brought Almiron back. They have a whole new team. Wilfried Zaha is in Charlotte. There are some some big ticket signings, but it's just one guy out of 11. You never know. Is that going to be instant lightning in a bottle? I don't know. It's so hard to call.
Yeah, Atlanta spent $22 million, which is a league record, to bring in a guy from the English Premier League. And then another league record was broken, which is a very exciting, that's sort of the biggest new thing about MLS. Some have wanted for a long time. We've seen this before. The intra-league trading has always been kind of boring and anticlimactic. It used to be very complicated. It was trading.
Yeah, because they wouldn't use real money. You weren't allowed to use real money. They just you had TAM, you had GAM, and that's
it was always
the Garber bucks that they refer to.
Garber bucks or re-entry draft or trades or discovery or all that crap. But the spirit of it was always like, yeah, we'll sign your trash. It was always bargain bin. It was always bargain bin stuff, right? Whereas in the Bundesliga, it's like Waldemar Anton is Stuttgart's best defender. So Dortmund gave him $20 million or however much, and bought him to be their star defender next year. That's exciting. That's Europe. MLS didn't have a lot of that. There's a couple exceptions. I remember when Darlington Nagbe went to Atlanta.
Yeah.
Portland, I believe it was. It was like that was like a big move. We're gonna buy your star player from our team. That doesn't happen in MLS much.
Very rare.
They always look outside the league for their players.
Yes.
Which is what it is. So what we had in this new offseason is cash transfer. And like you said, we used to have this Garber buck system, which is still in play. But now finally they're like, you know what? We're going to slowly conform, as they usually do, slowly but surely conform with footballing norms. Owners are now allowed to pay straight cash. They're allowed to hand them a suitcase or a bag with a bunch of money in it to get a player. So cash transactions between teams in MLS for players is now allowed. And we saw that immediately created some movement because Evander, who you were hoping to get your hands on,
I mean, I knew that was a long shot.
Where he went to
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati for $12 million.
Yeah, because Lucho Costa went to Dallas.
Also for cash. And Jack McGlynn, who was rumored to go to Europe, ended up in Houston because of this new rule, was able to exceed whatever any European team was offering for him. So he's getting his he's going almost as far away as Europe, but in the opposite direction, the South. Yeah,
he's going to Texas instead.
Yeah, but I like it. Like the Evander, I love the fact that Cincinnati is like, they paid $12 million cash for an MLS star, also from Portland, right? Evander was from Portland.
Yeah, he was in Portland. There were clearly things were not going well. He had some disparaging things to say about the front office. It wasn't clear that he was going to come back. And now there is solutions for these kinds of players within the league, and that's a positive. And you can find, like a team like Cincinnati, they lose Lucho Costa because he was also kind of done with them, I guess. And so they're able to replace him with quality talent, put some money down, and get somebody who is familiar with the league. I mean, this is always what we're talking about, right? The big signings from internationally, they take a while for whatever reason to get used to the new food and
the travel,
whatever it is exactly that makes humans be humans. It takes a while, and you don't know how it goes, and so
the flying, they're not used to. They're not. I guess I said travel, but they're not used to transferring between Kansas City then Dallas before they make their way to Portland.
It's complicated. It's complicated. So now you can get somebody, if you're willing to cough it up, you can get a high level league tested player. I think that's a positive.
Absolutely. And I am a huge proponent of just breaking the system down and simplifying it all. Still single entity in this cash transfer. They're going to add a bunch of rules to it. My question is this, and Bjorn, maybe you can answer this. I mean, are there limits? Does this mean that if I'm an owner of LAFC and I'm a billionaire or something, am I allowed to call NYCFC and sign I'm trying. Who's your star player? If I and then sign,
Well, Santi
I'm allowed to.
Rodriguez is in
I'm allowed to
Brazil.
just offer. I'm 100. Let's say I'm allowed to offer $100 million to Santi Rodriguez or something like that. Are there limits, or can I just?
Limits as to
I
how
just can
much?
now. Yeah.
I don't think so. Why would anybody offer 100 million for?
It's just a hypothetical, but I'm trying to wrap my head around it. Because MLS. MLS is all about that parity. It's all about so if there's a new rule where team owners that want to spend more can just spend on players now in the market, that
Well, I think you
definitely
still. I mean, you still gotta.
tips those scales.
You're still limited to 3. I think these people have to be DPs, right? And they have to be.
I don't know.
They have
I'm
to be.
deferring to
I
you.
think so. Yeah. So I think they're. I think you still have to. Still can only have 3, because if you pay a big transfer fee, that does count against the budget. So you have to. It has to be a DP then.
Yeah. See, I'm already confused. I don't know.
No,
So,
because the budget charge for a player like a DP is like 500
Oh, you mean
grand.
salary?
Salary,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that
But
I understand.
but the transfer fee gets added to that. So if you
How so? Like what
like if
so
you
tell me what's
pay
going to happen to the $12 million that Cincinnati spent. Like what? Tell me how that happens.
that just makes I mean, Evander was already a DP, so it's neither here nor there. But if you play I don't think Jack McGlynn, for example, was a DP in Philly, but I think he has to be a DP now in Houston because the transfer fee puts him over the threshold of being a TAM or a GAM guy. So I think he has to. So that's the limiter right there. You can only do this for 3 people on your team.
Got it. So the transfer fee is not a salary.
Well, that's always been the case. If you want to pay somebody $400,000 a year, but you have to pay an $8 million transfer fee, that person's going to be a DP because that's becomes part of the charge.
So what would it say on his like MLS? You know how MLS, the players union, releases their salaries every year. What would his salary be listed as?
The salary would be a salary. It wouldn't
for the year?
It wouldn't be no. Although sometimes I think these numbers do get a little conflated, so which is why that list always there's some players take issue with like these numbers and they're like, oh, I'm not actually making that much. But in general, they try to keep that separate.
Yeah. Well, but I'll probably wrap my head around a little more as we move forward. But principally, it's like you're allowed to just offer cash. You don't have to trade. You don't have to do TAM GAM limits. You're allowed to offer.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're allowed to offer as much as they want then, right?
Yeah, I think so. I believe so.
Open market.
I mean,
if 3 clubs want Santi Rodriguez, they can then go to a bidding war with their cash offer.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go, baby.
Yeah, I mean, Santi Rodriguez is, as of today, is in Brazil. Well, go for it then.
It's not. Remember last week I talked about the Brazilian market being
they didn't used to spend that much money.
Yeah, they've been very active. There's been 3 or 4 just this past week of Brazilian clubs spending like because what was his name again? What was the guy's name again? The Uruguayan he just sold to Botafogo.
Santi Rodriguez. We haven't sold him yet. He's on his way, but he's not.
$17 million.
That's the number that's been kicking around. But according to sporting director David Lee, this is not a done deal. They have accepted the offer, but they have not agreed personal terms, and he's on his way to Brazil to figure this out. And it could happen, but it's not done. And
but that's one of like 4 transfers this week of a Brazilian club coming in, spending like $15 to $20 million.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Player. Yeah, that's surprising. Good on the Brazilian clubs. They must found money. Maybe Petrobras, the Brazilian oil company, started buying up some clubs. I don't know, but like, good on them. But anyway,
flush.
So the MLS market's active. You got intra cash. You got Brazilian clubs coming in. You got MLS clubs spending $22 million in Prem players. It's a very active transfer season. My club, which we can get into a little bit, also a very active off season. But you, Bjorn, now that you were with an MLS executive this morning, right? Tell me everything.
Just this evening, actually. Yeah, there was an event. We got to meet they often do this for the founding the founding members, the few of us that have been there from the beginning, season ticket holders from
you and Greg,
on.
right? You and Greg, you guys.
Me and Greg. Why is that guy's name Greg?
Greg
No, I mean there are. It's funny, we do know each other sort of. And they had a lovely event. We got to meet Coach. I got to meet Coach Pascal Janssen, and it's funny, he's our sixth coach, and I've met all of them in these kinds of settings. There's every single head coach of NYCFC I've had at least a very brief conversation with, and so I think that's a cool thing to have personal opinions about people, and sometimes they cloud your judgment. I in the case of Dominic Torrent, I was a little put off by him in person. He seemed a little slimy to me, but I think that he turned out to be a great coach. And he also, in fairness, was very generous with a bunch of fan groups and people from the outfield. He gave them some personal time to discuss his. So my read on him was perhaps wrong.
And then half of these encounters have been up and down the Jersey Turnpike, right? Something like that.
What do you mean up and down the Jersey Turnpike?
When you meet these coaches, you meet them at Applebee's. Where are you meeting these coaches at?
No,
meeting at the Clara Barton stop at the Jersey Turnpike. There's a deep cut.
I get
We're behind Patrick Vieira in line at the Popeyes.
I get a text from my team rep, and it's like, if you want to meet the coach, you got to go to the parking lot at the Arby's in Westchester. No, it's no, I mean that's the beauty of NYCFC being a relatively young club. They are very very sort of fan friendly. They do a lot of these kinds of things, especially for those of us who are regulars. And thankfully, my ticket rep McKenna, shout out to her, is very, she invites me to these things, and it's very nice. And so.
What are your thoughts on the new guy, Pascal Janssen? Give me.
I think he seems very solid. We had, like Nick Cushing, by all accounts, was a very nice guy, but had a little bit of a more kind of robotic, technocratic kind of vibe. His press conferences, I stopped watching because he would always, it was very predictable what he would say. This new coach has more flair than that. Like Pascal Janssen is a very a worldly guy. He's been around. He's his Dutch father and I think English mother were both musicians, and so just the way he talks is very engaging. He's it's very fun to listen to him. It seems good. But then the reality also is we don't really have a team where the philosophy about the trend. Yeah, we haven't had any incoming. I mean, we signed a couple of homegrowns. We now signed the left back, the number 88, the 88th pick in the 88th pick in the draft is going to start for us at left back on Saturday, potentially. I mean, we don't know this, but Kevin O'Toole is injured. Christian McFarlane went to England, and David Lee said, his philosophy, he said this before, not just today. He said, when a new coach comes in, you first want to see. Sometimes players who didn't feature much before become important, and other players kind of have less of a role. So before you make a lot of signings, when you have a new coach, you want to just kind of see where he thinks the holes are. But a left back, we definitely knew we were going to need. Like this, McFarlane is gone. We knew that for a long time that he was going to England.
Buy one with cash. You can buy one with cash now. You can go and buy.
Well, we did not do that. We drafted somebody 88, number 88, Nico Carvalho, and it was kind of a joke. Like it was our fourth or fifth pick, and it's like, well, I guess we need a left back, so we draft him. And he had a great preseason. He made the team, so good for him. But like, that's a little scary that he's going to perhaps start the game on Saturday. I mean, we don't know if he will.
Also, What the heck is it? Like the draft pick? Who cares? That has never affected soccer
Well,
in any way.
but that's the point I'm making. It's like the draft is so meaningless. So if you're getting somebody that far down the list, like that is not an ideal situation, in my opinion. That is a guy who's going to start on Saturday against Inter Miami. So
true.
So
he's a college player. You're throwing a college kid out there.
Yeah,
One of the brightest college kids.
So yeah, I don't know. The signings are coming. We heard about this. I guess they were also. I thought the Santi Rodriguez thing was a done deal. Apparently, it's not, and we'll find out. That obviously has them in limbo. Of course, that makes a big difference if he's going to be there or not, and if they're going to have 18 extra million or not. That's gonna. So it's a little bit of yeah. I mean, this has always been their strategy. You know, they say faster, better, cheaper. Pick two, right? You can't have it all. And in the case of David Lee and MLS, you always going for cheaper, and hopefully better. So it's not faster. If it takes a while. In the case of NYCFC, that's always the signings are late. And he even said tonight, it's like, Santi Rodriguez, maybe we'll replace him this window, maybe not. Maybe it won't come until maybe his replacement won't come until the summer, and so it's going to be a little, rough. I said to Coach Jens, is like, it's nice to meet you. And I said, nice to meet you. Welcome to New York. Are we going to have a team? And he said, we're working on it. We're working on it. He definitely is also eager. I just sort of happened to catch that when David Lee walked in. He said to him, do you have any transfer news? And David Lee did like 2 thumbs down like this. I was like, oh, that's got to be bad, right?
It is bad.
So, who knows?
We're having a very New York Red Bulls style offseason.
Yeah, this is usually what you complain about.
And we're having a very non-traditional New York Red Bulls style offseason. We have brought in Choupo-Moting, veteran, Bundesliga veteran, and people are sleeping on him, not giving him enough credit. I think he's about to do really well.
Well, he's one of those guys. He's 35. You don't know. He could be, maybe not. I just want to quick before we transition to the Red Bulls, want to answer Daniel Young's question. He asked, "What are Pascal Jansen's thoughts on Nick Cushing?" And he was very complimentary. I mean, he said he did not want to. Obviously, some of the fans in the Q&A were trying to get in some barbs about about the old coach, and Pascal was very classy about it. He said there's a lot in the team that he likes, a lot of the and that's a compliment to that's credit goes to the previous coach. Like, he did not think there was, he needed a total makeover. And he was also saying all the young players are now a year older, so they've already had a season under their belt, and hopefully that'll make a difference. I mean, everybody wants the team to be more consistent, but yeah, there need to be more people. We lost James Sands. We're perhaps losing Santi Rodriguez. And we have a lot of injuries. We have Thiago Martins is hurt, Kevin O'Toole is hurt. So it's gonna be very interesting, because we're starting on the road at Inter Miami and at LAFC, and those are some tough games. So hopefully, I mean, a lot of the kids have impressed in the preseason games. A lot of the kids in the homegrowns got a lot of time, and they've done well, including 88th pick Nico Caballo, who I thought for sure would land on NYCFC 2, but he's got a contract. He's in. So he's going to be thrown in the deep end of the pool potentially on Saturday, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, that's, I like that. We should have a lot of great players start that way, unknowns being thrown in, and then you just keep going from there, and then you figure them out. And it's MLS. There's no relegation. Top 8 teams make it through.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
They should be taking more. Criticism I have is clubs should be taking more risks with unknowns, in my opinion, even more than they do now. But yeah, very cool. So yeah, what are your? I don't know. I think what I even have. There are a lot of questions in the chat with Danny Young. I do want to get to those.
Yeah, we're gonna get back to the Club
We'll get
World
to
Cup
those. And also, there's something I actually realized I did want to talk about, which is a little weird. I want to bring that up too at some point. But uh, yeah, I guess going back, so the New York Red Bulls off season. I'll talk about it very briefly because I still want to talk more about this. Like, do you have more stuff from David Lee and the cash transfer, and like, do you have more stuff? You said you had a lot of stuff you want to talk about. I don't want to step on.
Well, it's I mean the other thing that came up is how Don Garber is no longer the commissioner. It's now Leo Messi has become the commissioner of Major League Soccer. He decides when this was kind of an under the radar story, but it was pretty weird.
Yeah, no, I actually, you mentioned that you going down to Miami. That game was also postponed
because of
game.
this thing. Yeah, because Messi decided it was too cold to play
Right.
tonight in Kansas.
And then right after he said that, they made an official announcement that the game was postponed today.
So they moved the game a day, and then they moved our start time, which was supposed to be 2:30. It was supposed to be an afternoon game. Was supposed to open the season, and then they decided no, he needs more rest after this game was postponed. So they moved it to the evening at 7:30.
5 hours. I mean, it's not. It's funny. I don't think it's that big of a deal. It didn't mean anything to me. But you're saying that a club executive criticized, saying that Messi has too much power. Is that what's?
Well, I mean, it's just crazy, right? That he doesn't want to play in the snow, or it's too cold. Like, why does he get to make that decision? He's the visiting player.
Shouldn't the league have made that decision before he said something? Like, remember there was that U.S. national team game that was in Minnesota at sub-zero temperatures and people got pneumonia. There's no point to doing it. Like, if Kansas City, I don't know, it's a weather report. There were reports there's a big storm coming through, and there have been reports that maybe the game will be canceled. We heard that going up to it. It does make sense during the wintertime. We talked about it. Like right now, we're looking at this Colorado LAFC game. It's an empty stadium covered in snow.
It's cold in Colorado, mid-February.
Yeah, it's and Kansas City has got a big storm. If I saw a big storm coming on a Tuesday, it was supposed to happen today, right? But it got pushed to tomorrow. Right? I think that's what happened.
Or is it? Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
or Wednesday. I think it was supposed to happen today. To me, I thought whoever's in charge said there's a big storm today, so we're going to cancel it and then play it tomorrow when we can clean the. I thought it was just a weather rescheduling that made sense. That's what I thought. But I don't really know. Is it cold? I don't know. Is it maybe just because it was too cold? It's supposed to be warmer the next day?
It was very, I think so. It's something like that. It was very, and the way I read it and the way I heard about it is this was all Messi saying this. This was not like, the game, there's bad weather, we're going to postpone the game. It was like Messi's people are saying it's too cold to play.
Well, Messi came out and said he's not going to play. So I thought that means the team would play without him. But what they did was they rescheduled the game so he could play. If that's true, which I'm sure it is. Yeah, that's poo-poo. That's Bush League. That's
crazy.
No one the Bundesliga would never do that.
No.
You gotta respect yourself a little bit. Kansas City weather. However, to defend him, if it genuinely, all right, today Kansas City is at 4 degrees. Humidity 71%, 20% chance. Light snow showers. Tomorrow, 8 degrees, light snow showers. I mean, is that really that big of a difference? Both weathers look. Today it's a high of 4, a low of 2. Tomorrow, high of 8, low of -5. So the weather seems similar, but 2 hours ago, Kansas is under a winter storm warning. Winter storm remains in effect.
It was also some wind chill factor or something. I don't know.
I mean, it's a winter storm warning, and then they thought it was going to snow tonight, so they postponed it today. I think that's what happened. if that's what happened, I mean, maybe we should have been clear about it. It should have been a press release. Like, we want to be clear, although what's his face didn't want to play. We did it for the safety of everybody. It wasn't because the player, I don't know. But if you're saying it was a straight up message, but I want to play, push it a day, and he did it, maybe the truth lies somewhere in the middle.
That's somehow how it was presented by some. And it affects us because, well, I think some fans were upset because they were trying to get back that night, and obviously that's no longer possible. So or people had booked flights, to get out of.
I'll tell you this, though, Bjorn.
Yeah.
If I play a game in Florida, I want it at night. I don't want it at frickin' 1 in the afternoon.
I mean, I think that's probably true too. I mean, I don't know what Miami's like in February. It's going to, can't be that
It's
hot.
better now because of February.
Yeah.
That's true. It's not like it's July. But still, a night game is going to be preferred anyway. I mean, I think that's kind of a blessing in disguise. But for the league, but like if Don Garber, he is the commissioner, if he had his say, they would not have postponed the game. Because the original schedule, it's like it starts with Messi, right? There was like 2 showcase games, one at 11:30 my time, 2:30 your time, and one at like 4:30. There were like the 2 showcase games, and then the rest were at night. Now this takes his main showcase game and just throws it in the bundle with the rest at night, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think that speaks to that idea that, like, whatever Messi wants, Messi gets, and that's it's not great.
It's true. It's true. He wanted cash transfers, and so they did.
You wanted, yeah.
Well, the big question with Miami, the same question every year, is can they actually win this dang cup with all that money they're spending, all their players? They're 0 for 2, and now they got 3 coming up. Question for you, Bjorn.
Yes, Stefan.
Daniel Young in the chat described the New York Rebels as parking the bus against NYCFC during our victory last offseason. Now, my memory is a little bit unclear. I think Carballo scored that great goal, right? And you were pretty lackluster. Weren't we up 2-0 by the half, and it was a pretty one-sided game? Am I wrong? Am I misremembering? Would you describe it as a park the bus scenario?
Well, I mean, they had a lead, so it's not like.
Yeah. I love you, Daniel Young, but I think that miscategorizes the.
Well, I think
playoff
I don't think it's. I mean, I guess you're taking this derogatorily. It's like it's an insult, parking the bus.
Kind of, because when I think of park the bus, I think of a team like Celtic putting all 11 players in the box and just hoping they don't score for 90 minutes. Isn't that what parking the bus is?
Well, to me, I guess if you go in that game, yeah. I mean, to me, parking the bus is, you have a lead and then you're just defending. You don't have to, and I think that's kind of what it was.
Anywho,
I mean, I don't think. I wouldn't say there's any suggestion that there was any, that you got lucky or there was it was a deserved victory, I guess.
Throughout the season, you beat us both times.
Hates me as much when it came to admit it.
As far as we talked about Vincent Kompany not being a big game coach yet, New York Rebels showed up for the big games last week, except for the final in typical That's So Metro fashion. I mean, I thought That's So Metro's died. It did not. Our center Colombian back, Andres Reyes, like he sabotaged the final. it's just like got drunk the night before and then pulled himself out right at the starting whistle on MLS Cup Day. That's typical Metro behavior. It's one of those like what? It's one of those WTF.
It's really too bad. Man. Yeah.
What the heck is going on?
I mean, I would say in our also our offense really fell apart somehow late in the year. We just lost every. And we also had beaten the Red Bulls very badly. So we were probably maybe a little overconfident, I think. Yeah, but and I mean, but I think I also see what Daniel Young is saying because there was a lot of the Red Bulls did a lot of defending, but they had that luxury because they had a 2-0 lead.
2-0. But that's also basic soccer strategy, like tactics.
Yeah,
if you're up a couple of goals, you sit tight, you let him come to hit him on the counter.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I don't think parking the bus. I wouldn't say it's just describing something. I don't think it's derogatory.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to hear your thoughts on it. So as far as so we've had a really exciting offseason. We had a run to the final unexpectedly, but I'm glad it happened. I was at that final. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I just discussed the final was brutal in general because Andres Reyes pulled out, which really mind screwed us, and we're down 2-0 within 20 minutes or something. And then we just held that thing, and the LA Galaxy won their title, and deservedly so. And there you go. But New York Red Bulls' response this offseason has been great. First and foremost, Jurgen Klopp was at training this past week.
Oh, tell us everything.
He was talking to the kids and the players, and he had his big old teeth. He had a smile on, that Jurgen Klopp charm. Because Jurgen Klopp did start his position as head of Red Bull Soccer Worldwide, whatever the heck that is, in January 1st. So he was in preseason. He was with the boys, and he was there to launch the new kit. There's a picture of him holding the kit and being like, this is the new New York Red Bulls kit. So Jurgen Klopp's presence is there. That's already a boost for the boys. I like that. I'm definitely a big fan of that. And then as far as the office goes, I don't know if it's Klopp or I think whoever it was, I think it was essentially Red Bull Office Global, I think finally got the hint or they made a decision that they do need to spend a little more. It can't just be Emma Forsberg and a bunch of kids, So it could also be the fact that they sold sponsorship rights to their stadium. Red Bull Arena is now called the Sports Illustrated Stadium.
Yeah, I thought that magazine didn't exist anymore.
I know. It's so the media world today is just so confusing.
It really is.
In general. I mean, not only that, I want to add to that there's this thing going online of Christian Pulisic, I think, is on the Sports Illustrated digital cover or something. So it's like a vertical or a digital edition. And it is the ugliest, most boringest, basic level 1 AI crap cover you've ever seen.
Oh, no. Okay.
It's literally him and like Sports Illustrated red in the background. And I was like, what the heck is the Sports Illustrated used to make the best covers?
Yeah.
Right? That was the whole point of Sports Illustrated. Like it was like the Sports Illustrated cover. Let's check it out. Anyway, I digress. All I'm saying is that new sponsorship money, maybe they did that specifically to invest in players with that money. Maybe that's where that money went, which would be huge. I'd love that idea. But anyway, so we signed Choupo-Moting.
Mm-hmm.
We finally signed this young Chilean international left back to replace outgoing John Tolkien, which is huge. And young prospect out of Chile. He was like 21. He has 5 caps. He's a prospective Chilean international. He's a big deal in the Chilean league. So we get to see him play. Then we brought back Tim Parker, one of my favorite. We bought a New York, a Long Island boy home who knows the high press, who knows the Red Bull system, who was great for us when he was here.
Little long in the tooth, though, no?
Yeah, but one of my many criticisms of the New York Red Bulls is they treat themselves like a youth academy.
Never bring anybody back. They should have been Tim Ream and Charlotte. What is he doing in Charlotte? Should be playing for the Red Bulls.
I mean, the list goes on and on and on where Red Bulls players come back and the New York Red Bulls is never interested in them. Tim Parker is back. And I'm like, hell yeah, bring back your boys. And, we brought back Tim Parker. We also just signed Raheem Edwards, who is a long-serving LA Galaxy player. I think he signed from USL, but he is a 29-year-old MLS vet. The kinds of players I used to want us to sign that we never signed before. They've been doing it. So you got your European star in Choupo-Moting, maybe even a Timo Werner. Maybe. He's still rumored.
Who knows?
But you got Choupo-Moting. Then you got your young Chilean international. We've seen those before. And then Marcelo Morales. He might be great. Might be a bud. You never know. But you got that. But then you got Tim Parker and Raheem Edwards. These two MLS solid, serviceable dudes. It's like we've never had those before. Amen. We're also bringing up people through the academy, which is important to me. That's still happening. And then we signed Alexander Hack, a Bundesliga serviceable veteran player, one of Sandro Schwarz's old boys from Mainz. He's
what is his position?
He is center back, I believe. Also a center back. But pretty much the moral of the story is we strengthened our squad in response to our MLS Cup run with not with kids, with professional players in their late 20s.
People who are ready to go, presumably.
And again, mark my words, I think we're going to see a pretty fun Choupo-Moting this year. He's not going to be mad. He's not going to rip it up. He might even be a dude who comes off the bench. But the dude can finish. You remember you called him the human victory cigar. The dude can score, man. He can finish. I think he'll be scoring this year. Dante Van Zier, who we sold for a lot of money, is on a scoring tear in Belgium right away.
Oh,
right back to Belgium. He scored 2 goals in his last club game with Ghent.
Jovan Mijatovic came off the bench. Our failed Serbian project came off the bench in Belgium and scored a goal immediately. It's like, all right.
I know. So with like Dante Van Zier, $5 million a year, I had high hopes for him, but it just never worked out. Alexander Haak is a 31-year-old center back who spent 133 appearances at Mainz from 2015.
So
he's 2023.
He's going to be ahead of Tim Parker in the depth chart, presumably.
Well, we have a depth chart. We have one. We had outgoing Dante Van Zier, outgoing Andres Reyes, which are both. One is a performance export, and the other is maybe an attitude export. So it's good to get him out of the locker room. Dante Van Zier had worse numbers than Patrick Klimala at the end of his stint, which is surprising. Patrick Klimala had terrible numbers. And then I'm probably even forgetting one or two. But anyway, I just want to say the New Rebels have had. Say it again.
How's Tom Barlow doing?
I have no idea. He's with Greg. He's with GGG now, isn't he?
Oh, is he? He's in Chicago? Oh, interesting.
Well, they sold him to Chicago. Is he still there? I don't follow Chicago super.
I don't know.
Let me look up Tom Barlow. He's at Chicago. He's still forward at Chicago. He's going to be there with.
All right.
He's got 2 goals in 28 appearances. He's there with Triple G. But anyway, I'm just saying that the New York Rebels have had one of those off seasons, kind of like Dortmund did this past summer, where it's like, hey, they brought in some reinforcements. It's not a bunch of random kids. It's not a bunch of unprovens. It's proven. Choupo's proven. Alexander Haak, we know what he can do.
But he's 35. Choupo's 35. He's on this.
I'm not saying he's going to be Leo Messi, but Choupo-Moting is our Corey Burke replacement.
That's an upgrade. Yeah, no question.
That's an upgrade. Quite the upgrade, right? Quite the upgrade, I'd say.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, so let's go. Let's go, New York Rebels. You got the players.
Where are you gonna finish? What place are you gonna finish in the East?
I think we're gonna make the playoffs again. I think we're going to be, because last year they were first place through the first half of the season. When Emil Forsberg got injured, then we had that terrible skid. And then when Emil Forsberg was healthy and back to go, that's when we had our run to the final. So I think it hinges very much on Emil Forsberg's health and how into it he is.
General attitude, yeah.
And general attitude.
So
if Emil Forsberg's healthy, if Choupo-Moting is healthy and also in it to win it, maybe even a Timo Werner is here to win it. New York relieves him of his pressures of Europe. He's happy to get rid of. Let's pretend that happens. And New York Rebels is first, baby. Maybe even a supporter.
Okay, I will take the under.
First in the East. But I'm just saying, if realistically, I'm gonna. This is probably famous last words. The New York Rebels are gonna finish second place. I was about to say third. Second place.
Still taking the under. Okay.
Second. I'm going second. Second place.
All right. Great. I mean, I don't think I'm not sure we're gonna. I'm ready for a place by place prediction, but I would say, what do I think about the East? I think Inter Miami and FC Cincinnati are the two big teams. I think Cincinnati has addressed their issues. They got rid of Lucho Costa. They got a number 9. They are going to work. They're going to have a great defense. And Inter Miami are Inter Miami. So they're the two big ones. Atlanta United, we'll have to see how that all meshes. I do believe in Ronnie Dyla, of course. I love him. And but that's going to take a little while. That's a total do-over. That whole team is new. The coach is new. Everybody's new. So we'll have to see how quick that goes. The Crew have lost Cucho Hernandez.
Right.
And that's going to
Spain.
That's going to drop. That's going to drop them down a little tier. Then Charlotte is next. Charlotte and Orlando have gotten big signings and spent money, and so they are probably. I think those are the heavy hitters, maybe, and then everybody else is fighting after that. I think there's the Red Bulls, there's us, there's.
Did I just hear you say that Greg GGG at Chicago Fire is going to miss the playoffs? Is that what you just said?
I actually think.
You're a GGG, your
I
favorite?
mean,
Triple G?
I don't think they're gonna. I think they're gonna be on the bubble. I think they're gonna have a chance to get in there. I mean, I think the Chicago Fire have a way to go. Right? They were pretty bad. They've been pretty bad for a long time. So Triple G could do all right with and even if they miss the playoffs. But I think they want to. I don't know. They've got a new DP winger. They've got some. Yeah, it's hard to know. I mean, again, all these teams. How is New England gonna do with their? They got Campagna from Inter Miami. They have Jackson Ewell is new. It's so hard to call, and MLS is difficult. It's difficult to predict. I think DC United are going to not be great. I think Montreal are not going to be great. I think the Union are going to struggle probably. They're
Toronto FC aren't going to be
an
great.
all youth team. Toronto, I think that's kind of the bottom. I think we have a top tier and we have a bottom tier and then we have a middle tier. And I think your team and my team are both in the middle tier, I would say.
I am going
I don't see the Red Bulls, but I could really be wrong about that too. I could see
they did it last season.
Could understand, yeah. I could see because the team is it's a second year. The new coach kind of overachieved last year, right? Probably fair to say. Definitely, actually,
he's good. He was very good. He was much better than I made it
to the final, even in the regular season, even with a little bit of a dip at the end. So
I'll go you one further.
Year 2, he could be. I could see a world where I don't think you're gonna get past Miami, but I think I could believe Red Bulls in third or fourth, sure.
Yeah, third, sure, but like Sandro Schwartz has been they played really well under him. The high press was back, but it was an exciting high press, and they moved around the field. Sandro Schwartz had them playing because he was just an obscure Bundesliga coach. I knew him from before, but in the Bundesliga, it's not like he's talked about in the same breath as the Jürgen Klopp or Xabi Alonso or something like that. He's just one of the obscurios.
Right.
He'd be more talking the same breath of a Pellegrino Matarazzo or something like that. And he came and he crushed. Like he got a boys playing, and now they gave him more tools, and it's like, and like I said, older. So Choupo-Moting's performance and health, and Emma Forsberg's health are a big factor. That's true,
right?
But we do have a little more of a veteran presence, and these boys are now 2 years into this Sandro Schwartz system, and I do think they do have an understanding of the longer picture of the league, which the team has never had before, and I'm glad they had that. So, yeah, maybe they'll have a midseason dip or whatever. Maybe third place is more realistic. But I agree with your sentiment. I think Cincy and Inter Miami are the big two teams. I do believe in my New York Red Bulls. I think Atlanta United's 100% a team to watch. Chicago Fire is interesting for me to watch because I want to see what GGG's got going on over there. Yeah, and then Philly for me is also very exciting with Bradley Carnell. I really like Bradley Carnell. I'm very curious how St. Louis is going to go in their next season. St. Louis is East or West? It's East, right?
West. Last I checked, right?
Oh, is it West?
Yeah,
because they're right in the middle of the country in that hard zone.
they were in the East for 1 year and then they moved.
Yeah, the Kansas Clubs go back and forth. Essentially, Charlotte, DC, Kansas City, Orlando. They're very mid-level. Boring clubs. It's a strong word, but it's like it's very much like, yeah, they'll be 8th place. All those clubs are going to be 8th and 9th place. You know what I mean? None of them are.
Orlando. I mean, Orlando. I thought Orlando could possibly be a little step up because they got some reinforcements, and Charlotte too. I think my counter argument to what you're saying about your team is that there's some an influx of expensive players to some of these clubs that your team and my team don't have. So we'll I mean, yeah, we don't know if they're going to hit or not, but I think potentially we might be a little behind them, but we'll see. It's so hard to call. Something might click, and something might not. The West, I don't even know where to begin. I mean, I guess the Galaxies were completely dismantled. They won the title,
I know where to begin.
Now it's exactly a totally different. I mean, Seattle is probably the number one team. The Galaxy, what?
The LA Galaxy, Will Kuntz Superman, who flipped a dying team to an MLS Cup winning team in one season, is now being punished by all the MLS rules and rosters.
Well, that's how it works.
Because they can't resign a lot of their player. I think they're the victims of these MLS transfer rule thing. Because again, I've heard some specifics. There's more of it, but there's certain players that just can't keep because of the fact that they're already maxed at their cap or whatever.
Well, but that's
they have to get rid of a couple of solid guys.
That's exactly what happened to NYCFC after we won the title. We kept everybody around for one more year, and then everybody has to go, because if you win a title, that means a lot of players play well and they all want more money, but there's a limit. There's a limit to how much you can give them because you're restricted by the cap. So then you got to sell some people, and then it's very, and that is something else that David Lee mentioned tonight, that he's unhappy about that. He would as a sport director, he feels like the league should pay more money, should spend more money and make his job easier. But like, why should you not be able to keep a team together?
I'm in full agreement with David, because I've talked about this a million times before. Lionel Messi gets $90 million a year, and then the MLS Cup winning defender of the year who makes $400,000 wants $450,000,
and they have
year.
To, right, exactly.
And they have to sell him and replace him with a guy who makes $400,000. It's like, let players. It's also America, right? In America, you're allowed to earn your value. You're allowed to get paid. You're allowed to get more. You're allowed to make your money here. If you invent a thing, if you've proven your worth, you're then allowed to go to a higher bidder. So for LA Galaxy, if you have these players who are on average contracts who really put together a title-winning team and were really, really good, then they deserve to be compensated for it. They deserve the pay they need. New York Red Bulls, I mean, it happens to all MLS Cups. I remember we had this guy, Marcus Holgerson, who started off rough, but he came really, really good. He was at $300,000, which I think was the cap at the time. And at the end of the year, we just couldn't re-sign him because we could only re-sign him at $300,000. And he's like, I want to make $400,000.
Yeah.
Which he deserved. He's a $400,000 worth player at least. And he went, and we had to replace him with a cheaper guy. And it's like, that is so against competition. I really do hate that. So I'm 100% in agreement with David Lee. For the LA Galaxy, for any MLS Cup winning team, like they should be able to have the rights to retain their title and sign all their players a 10% bonus or increase. That should be allowed. That is a flaw in, I think, the MLS system.
But that's how, and I mean, I guess that would be also, again, the counter argument against your team. You made the finals. Maybe, you didn't have that problem in terms of
we had so much cap space.
You had plenty of cap space.
You got plenty of cap space.
But it's what goes up must come down in MLS usually. Right. So I don't know what the Galaxy is going to be like. LAFC are probably good. Seattle seems on paper very good potentially. Yeah.
And, you know what team I'm excited about?
And you're a Bruce guy. You want to see the Earthquakes succeed, but the Earthquakes were so bad. The Earthquakes, I think, even more so than Chicago. Matter. Even if he finishes 10th, it'll be a success.
Yeah, look what we did at New England. Look what we did at LA Galaxy. Look what we did at DC United. Believe in Bruce. Bruce will get it done.
All right,
Bruce
we'll see. I mean,
San Jose is my team to watch in the West.
It'll be an interesting team to watch.
Speaking of West.
Hang on, let me just real quick catch up on the chat here. Daniel Young would like to say sorry to you. Sorry, Stefan, for my previous comment on the Red Bulls playoffs win versus NYCFC. I was talking about the way the game transpired late in the second half. I'm happy for Red Bull that they can contend in the Eastern Conference and win a U.S. Open Cup and Leagues Cup. Oh, look at that. We have other competitions. Yeah, that we
I thought you weren't allowed to be in both. Isn't that...
No, we're in both. Are you not in both? No, you can't be in all three. You're only going to be in two maximum. and that includes
no
the CONCACAF.
apology.
No apology
No apology
necessary.
needed. No, don't worry about that. I was offended or anything. I just wanted to ask. I was just curious if you describe it as a park. Maybe we're just we're just discussing the definition of park the bus. That's all I was just curious about. No, yeah, I mean, we've never won a title. I'm excited because I think we're going to play in the Champions Cup this year, right? Somewhere.
You must,
aren't we?
Got to.
Yeah,
But why are you not? But why are you not in it yet? Then, if that's the case,
probably we're later in the bracket. Then let me double check here.
Are you?
But
maybe you're not in it because you didn't win, and you didn't get it through. No, you're probably not in it because
really?
you didn't.
Don't both MLS Cup finalists?
I don't think so. I think in Leagues Cup it's the top 3, but otherwise you get it because you weren't high enough in the East to get in. I don't think you're in.
Yeah. I guess I'm looking at the thing here. Columbus Crew, LA Galaxy. Yeah, I don't see us. So weird.
You didn't make it.
Back when we were in it, I think because of our final run, I forget exactly how it made it, because maybe our 08 run. It was so much fun. It was fun watching it. Like, it was frustrating when we lost to Chivas there at the end. We had a great run. Luis Robles had such a great performance. Young Tyler Adams was really crushing it. It was fun to watch us in the CONCACAF Champions Cup last time. I do like the CONCACAF so much. Speaking of CONCACAF, it is LAFC and Colorado are 0-0 at the half.
Yeah.
I would like to talk about something disturbing.
Oh boy.
In a bit, related to the West and related to trying to think about Western analysis here. Definitely got my eyes on LA Galaxy, Seattle, and San Jose. Real Salt Lake and Colorado kind of are in that world where it's like, yeah, they'll finish.
I think Salt Lake they've lost a lot of talent. I don't think there's gonna be a drop.
Austin and Houston is like, mid table, we'll see. And then Dallas, I'm curious what kind of new kids they got coming up.
Lucho Costa is there.
Yeah, which is a great
former league MVP. Yeah.
Not very good. Portland, we'll see how they do. But I just want to bring up something. Let me read something to you. You tell me what you think about this.
Okay.
And you know how I am in LA, and I'm kind of neutral. I like both the LA teams. I think they both do a really good job. And I'm kind of a neutral, but like I've been leaning towards the Galaxy because the Galaxy is very much like the Rebels, like an MLS 1.0 team.
The originals.
I realize my values kind of line up with the originals. Anyway, there's a lot to like about LAFC. I got 2 LAFC things. First, I'll say something positive, and then I'll say something negative. So, the LAFC, it's a fun team. It's a hip club, and and they do a lot of things right. And really going to an LAFC game is probably one of the best, funnest nights in MLS. It's just such a cool environment. Love the stadium, the celebrities there. But first, a positive thing. LAFC striker Olivier Giroud's home was robbed in a $500,000 heist. So his jewelry was robbed here in LA.
But they didn't take the ring, yeah?
They didn't take the ring. I think, well, jewelry was robbed. The reason it's positive is because it's like, hey, robbers usually target NFL guys and like NBA guys.
That's what's positive.
Robbers are like, hey, we got to start robbing these soccer stars.
That's positive.
American soccer's, again, another example, getting in the mainstream here. It's like Olivier Giroud they do this thing where they look at you on Instagram, and if there's like a photo of you like in Paris at some award show or something, they know your house is empty. So they go to your house and they rob it because all they know is there's like a ring camera or whatever security system they have.
Okay.
And that's what they did to Olivier Giroud. So there's a positive.
Okay, I'm not sure Olivier Giroud agrees.
Oh, $500,000? How much does he get? Who cares? It's like a month's salary for him. It's not the only one.
It's not, he's in MLS now. He's not as rich as he used to be.
Here's another quick one from 3 hours ago from Tommy Scoops. The LA Galaxy are exercising a contract buyout on midfielder Sean Davis. This move is strictly due to cap constraints.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
LA Galaxy acquired Davis from Nashville. Davis have obviously gone elsewhere for cheap budget, so they're doing budget stuff. But I just want to.
He's the kind of guy that we could use. I don't know that I want Sean Davis exactly, former Red Bull guy on MLS, but he fits the bill of the kind of midfielder we're looking for.
You know what, dude? There's two weird stories here. Hold on, I'm trying to find my thing. Los Angeles one. So first and foremost, I kind of forgot a little under the rug. An LAFC owner had to apologize because he did this weird
Oh yeah, I saw that.
anti-Israeli tweets or
Couldn't even
pro-Israeli tweets. Forgot what it was. One or
I
the
didn't
other. The whole
follow.
Israel
I didn't
stuff.
follow it in detail. Yeah.
But whatever, did it. He apologized. But hear this. So anyway, a few days later, an LAFC fan group, and LAFC has like hundreds of fan groups. Maybe hundreds is a lot. They have a lot. Here's one I didn't even know they had. I know LA has a huge Armenian population. I'm at community college here, and my classes are half Armenian people. And I assume they just all agreed to be in this class. They're like, no, we just met in this class. We don't know who these people are. There's just a lot of Armenians in LA. And LAFC has a supporters group called Los Armenios. And they released a statement 3 days ago. And I'm going to have to read their statement. Statement from the Armenian supporters of LAFC. As passionate supporters of LAFC and proud members of the Armenian community in Los Angeles, we are deeply troubled by reports suggesting that the club is considering signing a Turkish player. Given the painful historical realities that Armenians have endured, such a move would be seen as a direct disregard for the deep-rooted sentiments of one of LA's most engaged and dedicated communities. Los Angeles is home to the largest Armenian diaspora in the world, and our presence at LAFC matches has been a testament to our unwavering support for the team and the city we love. However, should this signing proceed, it will undoubtedly alienate a significant portion of the club's loyal fan base. Many within our community have already expressed their intention to boycott the season should LAFC move forward with this decision. We urge the club's leadership to consider the broader implications of this move and to engage with the Armenian community before taking any steps that could irreversibly damage the strong bond we have built with LAFC. We stand for unity, respect, and a team that reflects the values of its supporters, Armenian supporters of LAFC. That's the statement. Isn't that the most disgusting thing you've ever read in your life?
That's pretty crazy. Yeah.
So I'm just like, well, hold on. So I Googled it. Then they're in talks of signing a Turkish player. This player, I don't know him personally.
Colorado just scored.
Maybe this guy's controversial.
Colorado got a penalty. Now up 1 against LAFC.
Yeah, but so going back
Sean
to
Davis, Daniel Young says Sean Davis is acceptable at this time. All right. Daniel Young signs off on it. Let's get him.
Daniel Young, is that statement from Los Armenios acceptable at this time?
I don't.
So I looked up this player. This player has no history. I think he has some controversy, a little bit. Like he has no real. He's not like a Nazi or anything. Like he's just a Turkish dude.
Yeah, I think those are the only extenuating circumstances that I could imagine. If he had some if he specifically had something against Armenians,
he doesn't. He's just a Turkish guy.
Yeah, that's crazy to say like, oh, you cannot sign a certain nationality of player because we are like, that's crazy. That's no good.
And then at the end, say we stand for. Then at the end, he said, we stand for unity and respect. It's like, what the heck? That's the most racist thing I've ever. So that's from the Los Armenios. And again, I look at that and it just distastes. I'm just like, what is so like? There's just distastes.
What is
so
like
negative points for LAFC.
That's if I would write to David Leaves like, well, we really can't hire a Dutch coach.
Right. No Dutch. That's not how that works. You got to celebrate the individual.
It's like, I mean, it's America too. You don't live in, I mean, I know that's crazy. That's crazy.
I get this history, but like, if I'm LAFC, I would purposely sign him just to tell him to go go off.
Just to be like,
but it's like, it's a free country. If this dude, he's just a dude. Was he supposed to not be Turkish? You don't choose where you're born, man.
Right.
And just in general, it's uncool to, that's very uncool to like generalize nationalities like that and stuff. Like that. It's nonsense. I thought we were ahead of that, and I'm very surprised that a bunch of people got together and felt that was appropriate message to transmit publicly.
Yeah, it's very bad.
So that's why I want to bring
also
it up.
Just like in general, you have to check with us.
Right.
It's not how that works.
That works. Also, I'm very curious how big that group is. It might just be like 5 guys. I don't know how big that group is.
Perhaps we're amplifying. We're amplifying like 3 nutbags on Reddit.
2 nutbags are amplifying 3 other nutbags. That's fine.
I mean, I can relate to that. You know, like we had I think it's died down now, thankfully, but we had this reputation of being the neo-Nazi club for a while, right. Like based on like 2 people or like 1 or 2 people. So yeah, if you could, a couple of nutbags can do a lot of damage to how your fan base is perceived. Yeah.
And LAFC is going through that right now. So, I just thought I want to bring it up because it was something very weird and disturbing. And there you go.
Crazy.
All right.
Well, it's too somber a note to end on. We're excited about the season, right? Daniel,
who's going to win MLS Cup this year?
NYCFC.
I think it's going to be Inter Miami. I think they're going to finally.
Really?
They have to.
I don't think so.
They have to.
Too old.
You're right. I don't respect their coach or whatever. I mean, maybe he'll be good. The other part is they have Javier Mascherano.
I don't think they're going to be as good this year. I think this whole like Messi has too much power. I don't think that's good. I think there's going to be a drop off. I'm going to predict for Inter Miami. And and I think I'm going to say it's going to be NYCFC and Seattle Sounders in the final.
Sweet. Yeah. That'll be fun. Root for your heart. In MLS, you're allowed to root for your heart. That's a positive MLS. Any team technically can win. San Jose can win. Chicago can win it.
San Jose is not going to win. No. San Jose will not.
I think I'm going to predict San Jose beating the crap out of Inter Miami in the MLS Cup final.
Really? San Jose is going to go all the way?
With Bruce.
We're dreaming here. We're dreaming.
No one fires me and hires their friend. I'm Bruce.
Why shouldn't I laugh at the power rankings and people like making these very earnest predictions about MLS? It's like we should just riff.
Total crap.
These are fun. Our predictions are probably not the most realistic, but
I think we're more accurate.
Fun. I think we're most fun. We're not going to be any worse than the pundits are constantly wrong, and at least we are wrong and fun.
You know who's going to win this year? Real Salt Lake. Who's going to win it?
Alba Mastroianni.
Yeah, because why? Oh, no reason why. just nobody go with it. Why not?
Just
go
because.
I think Real Salt Lake's going to beat Houston Dynamo in the final. We know. And yes, 2 Western teams did make the finals.
Somehow.
in my
we have a new team. We haven't talked about them at all. We have new team. San Diego is in.
Yeah, that's right. It's just so unexciting. It's like,
I know.
I guess Chucky, the coach hire was bad. Look at the Torres. It's like, all right. I guess it's all about Chucky.
This has a little bit of a Charlotte vibe, where like not that they're not doing well or whatever, but there's just like, nothing seems appealing about them. And I mean, I guess we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I'll try to. I do like that stadium down there, the Snap.
Well, you're not far. Yeah.
Try to go down there and check them out.
I'm hoping to go travel to Dallas for the road game in July, perhaps.
Sweet. The New York Red Bulls are coming to San Jose this year, so we'll see if I can make my way up there. They're not coming to LA this year, but they'll be in San Jose, so maybe I'll go up there, which we can check out Bruce, check out my team, my old team, my new team. Check them out. All right.
MLS this weekend.
It's back this weekend. MLS Season Pass. We got Colorado leading LAFC tonight. We enter Miami in the Snow Bowl versus Sporting Kansas City tomorrow. It'll be interesting to take a look at that.
And then NYCFC is the kids. Johnny Shore is going to get his first MLS goal on Saturday for the stoppage time winner at Inter Miami.
I hope so. I'm always rooting for the kids.
All right,
everybody. This has been the Doubleheaders are back. U.S. soccer, German soccer. Thanks for joining us. Tell your friends and family. Woo-hoo. We're also on podcast and YouTube world and boop, 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 boop. See y'all later.
Tschüss.
Tschüss. Bis nächste Woche.